Welcome
Love
to
it.
the show, man. I'm really excited to have you. So let's start from the very beginning. You were talking about being a party promoter. Uh, I'd like to know, why did you choose to become a party promoter? What mindset did you have when you were in high school? And with zero money, how did you get up and running?
First of all, thank you, Zen, for making me your very first guest on the Close One show. So honored to be a part of it. Um, I love your setup. Love how everything looks on what you have going on here too. So let's get on to like what about me? I mean, you said back in high school. I'll take it back even further. I think I had an entrepreneur mindset when I was at elementary. Like it was one of those times where I would baseball cards were in at the time, right? It was one of those things where baseball cards were really hot, and I saw kids going to the liquor store spending like 50 cents to 75 cents a pack to buy a pack of baseball cards. And I realized when I went to like Costco one time with my dad, they're selling like these boxes of baseball cards with like 36 packs in them. And I thought to myself, if I sell them for like 50 cents, I could actually still make more money than actually had someone spending them at the liquor store. So I knew the value of like, making a profit and how to make money like that way. It's one of those things where you just kind of like see a demand and you fill it. And I knew that at a very, very young age. And, from there, then into elementary, and then I got into in high school. I actually didn't start doing parties yet. That was in college. In high school, I actually was doing more of like t-shirts. Like, I actually later on we'll talk about maybe how I actually started my clothing brand with my brother, but I actually was doing t-shirts design. We used to have like these crews, back in days, like during the time I was like, when I was growing up, I was like, gang banging was huge. I wasn't into that stuff, but we had still like these little brotherhoods, these crews and stuff like that. And in order for us, instead of like representing colors, like we didn't represent blue, red, or anything like that, but we wore t-shirts like of the similar design to kind of represent us. And like my crew back then was called like Menace. And so I would have like a bunch of Menace designs. And then I already had an audience to buy it. Right? It was my crew. And I actually made a little money doing that by like selling the designs. I knew if I had to came up with a new design, like a new Menace design, I would have at least 30 buyers. And then, I'd sell it for maybe like $20. And at the time, that's how much shirts cost. And then for me, when I would get at wholesale, I would, probably only spend like $12, right? So that's the part where I kind of got growing into more of like that design part and how it progressed my career. But now, onto like party promoting, man, that was something where it came out of the blue, because as you know, like I was talking about how I was into the design, right? And when I was doing design, I loved photography, and photography was something I actually did in high school. I did in college, and then from there, I was taking a bunch of photos of some models, right? And these models were like, I would find them at the clubs or, just like, not necessarily models, but say, hey, you want to like pose for me for like, be my model for my, my college photography. It was for my college class, I didn't go around like the campus and like scout like models. And then from that, I actually developed a website, and that was actually that featured models. I would actually post the pictures I posted of these models. Instead of paying them, I asked them, hey, can I just do an exchange and just use your photos for my portfolio and just put them online? And then it started like getting a lot of traffic. And then when I was going to parties, I would like invite these models, and then people saw me taking pictures at clubs. So I became like this club photographer at first. And then when people would use my photos, I would see my logo on every single photo, like on MySpace, on everyone's MySpace. The profile picture was having a logo that said Paul Andre Photography on there. And, going to all these clubs and, making like my name of myself, like, Paul Andre, people saw me walking around with these models around me all the time because, I was shooting models and recruiting them. I decided, someone asked like, hey, why don't you like do parties? You have like this, you have a following of everyone that knows who you are from like taking other people's photos and taking all these model photos. And I felt like I can combine the two. So like the attraction was to have throw nightclub parties with the models I shoot and have them come in all for free. And it attracted a huge, the amount of people, like they became like I had, don't get me wrong, like this is like when we had go-go dancers and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
it was like something that just picked up from there. And then, one of my largest party was maybe at the Cow Palace back in San Francisco. It was a Halloween party. It was
I remember that.
called, yeah, it was, we had about 6,000 people. I did it with a few other promoters, but it was one of my biggest, most funnest party I've ever had. We had a concert and everything like that. And again, it was like I was able to bring two of my businesses that I had as being as a photographer and a content creator, and bringing like the models and everything and combining that and to create another business, which was my entertainment business, right? Mm-hmm. So that's how I actually got started with at least the nightclub scene. There's other things where I was able to start becoming an entrepreneur. Like I started my first business was, like I was in, like when I was doing these photography stuff, part of the models were models I recruited from car shows. Import car shows were huge back in the Bay Area for at least Asian Americans. And it was like called import car shows. And so we would have like huge, or tricked out custom cars where they're like, like different, like nice rims. It's either no show, no go, or all show, no go, or it's like, hey, that's all show, no go, or that's all go, no show. I mean, it was a culture growing up here in the Bay Area, and even also down into LA. I believe it was like something called like Hot Import Nights. It was like Importorama. What else was there? There was like there's so many car shows going on too, where like, and this is at the same time the internet was coming out, and so this is something where I would actually, before like there was digital cameras, I would take photos at the clubs and at the car shows and scan hundreds and hundreds of actual prints. So it was expensive, but being one of the first ones to do that online, it just drove a massive amount of traffic. And then, traffic is gold because you have that audience. You get the audience that you can sell anything to. I mean, well, whatever you have, you can have an audience to sell something to.